He might not be avoidant. He might just not be that interested. And that is one of the hardest truths to accept when you really want the mixed signals to mean something deeper. Because when a man is distant, inconsistent, emotionally hard to read, your mind will try to make sense of it. Maybe he's scared. Maybe he has walls up. Maybe he feels too much and doesn't know how to handle it. Maybe if I just understand him better, I'll understand us. But sometimes, what feels confusing is not avoidant attachment. Sometimes it's just low investment. And if you've been stuck trying to figure out whether he's avoidant, or simply not that into you, this is for you. Because those two things can look similar in the beginning. Both can feel distant. Both can feel inconsistent. Both can leave you anxious, overthinking, and trying to decode every text. But they are not the same. And if you don't know the difference, you can waste a lot of time romanticizing behavior that is actually just indifference. One of the biggest mistakes women make in modern dating is assuming that confusion automatically means depth. It doesn't. Sometimes confusion means someone is internally conflicted. But sometimes confusion just means they do not care enough to be clear. And that difference matters. Because avoidant attachment usually still has signs of real connection underneath the distance. People with avoidant attachment often value independence, struggle with emotional closeness, and may withdraw when intimacy starts to feel too intense. Someone who is simply not interested usually does not show that same pattern of genuine connection followed by discomfort with closeness. The pattern is usually flatter. Lower effort. Less curiosity. Less real emotional presence from the start. So let's talk about what that actually looks like. An avoidant man often does come close. That's what makes him confusing. He may open up a little. He may initiate. He may seem warm, engaged, thoughtful. He may create moments that feel emotionally real. But then, once the relationship starts becoming more intimate, more emotionally vulnerable, more defined, he pulls back. Not always because he lost interest. But because closeness starts to feel uncomfortable. He starts feeling pressure. Pressure to stay open. Pressure to be consistent. Pressure to be emotionally available. Pressure to be needed. Pressure to let someone matter too much. So with an avoidant person, the pattern often looks like this. Interest. Connection. Warmth. Then distance. Not because nothing was there. But because something was there, and now it feels threatening. Someone who is not interested usually looks different. They may enjoy attention. They may enjoy access. They may enjoy the convenience of you. But they do not consistently move toward deeper connection. They do not become distant after intimacy. A lot of the time, they were never truly leaning in to begin with. You just kept hoping the breadcrumbs meant more than they did. And that's the painful part. Avoidant behavior often creates a push-pull dynamic. Low interest creates a slow drain. Avoidance can feel like someone stepping forward and then panicking. Disinterest often feels like someone staying halfway out the door the entire time. So if you're trying to tell the difference, here's the first thing to look at. Look at whether there was ever a real pattern of movement toward closeness. Not just chemistry. Not just flirting. Not just attraction. Closeness. Did he ask deeper questions? Did he create emotional intimacy and then retreat from it? Did he seem affected by the connection once it became real? Or was he mostly vague from the beginning? Was it always mostly on your terms emotionally? Were you the one deepening things, naming things, carrying things? Were you always trying to turn potential into reality by sheer emotional effort? Because a lot of women confuse intensity with intimacy. And those are not the same thing. A few passionate moments do not always mean someone is attached. Sometimes they just mean he liked the moment. The second thing to look at is consistency of effort. An avoidant person may become inconsistent when emotional closeness increases. But someone who is not interested is often inconsistent across the board. They do not just pull away when things get real. They are usually underinvested the whole time. They text when it's convenient. They show up when it suits them. They disappear without much concern for your experience. They rarely move things forward in a meaningful way. And the truth is, if someone likes you enough and is emotionally available enough, you will not have to build the entire relationship out of clues. Yes, dating can be messy. Yes, people get scared. Yes, attachment wounds are real. But chronic ambiguity is not automatically a sign of hidden depth. Sometimes it is just what low effort looks like when you are emotionally invested in the outcome. The third thing to look at is what happens after closeness. This matters more than almost anything else. When things get emotionally closer, does he shut down? Does he suddenly need space after intimacy? Does he get weird after vulnerability? Does he seem warm one moment and distant the next, especially right after the relationship feels more real? That pattern can point to avoidance, because avoidant attachment tends to activate around increasing closeness and emotional dependence. But if there is no real closeness first, no emotional opening, no consistent movement toward you, no visible internal conflict, then it may not be avoidance. It may simply be a lack of serious interest. And this is the part nobody wants to hear. Because he's avoidant is often less painful than he's just not choosing me. One story gives you complexity. The other gives you rejection. One story keeps hope alive. The other asks you to let go. So a lot of women stay trapped in analysis. They study attachment theory. They replay conversations. They search for hidden signs. They try to understand the wound behind the behavior. And understanding can be helpful. But not when it becomes a way to avoid reality. Because at some point, the question is no longer, why is he like this? The real question becomes, what is this dynamic doing to me? Is it making you feel safe? Is it making you feel chosen? Is it making you feel calm, respected, emotionally grounded? Or is it turning you into someone who is constantly waiting, constantly wondering, constantly trying to earn clarity that should be given freely? Because whether he is avoidant or not interested, the impact on you still matters. And this is where women often abandon themselves. They become so focused on diagnosing him that they stop protecting themselves. They become so focused on whether his distance means pain that they stop asking whether his behavior meets basic standards for a healthy relationship. And that matters. Because someone can have a painful story and still be unavailable. Someone can have attachment wounds and still not be ready to love you well. Someone can even care about you and still create a relationship that hurts you more than it nourishes you. So how do you tell the difference in the simplest possible way? Ask yourself this. Does he seem incapable of sustaining closeness? Or uninterested in building it? There's a difference. The avoidant person often approaches connection, feels it, responds to it, then struggles once it becomes emotionally demanding. The uninterested person usually does not build much at all. He may like your attention. He may like your presence. He may like access to you. But he does not make meaningful emotional investment that later becomes too much to handle. He mostly just stays vague. And if you have to constantly zoom in, analyze, interpret, and rescue meaning from tiny moments, there's a good chance you're dealing less with mysterious emotional depth. And more with a man who simply isn't showing up. And that is why the most important question is not whether he secretly likes you. It's whether his behavior creates enough clarity, consistency, and care for you to feel emotionally safe. Because love that is real and healthy does not require this much decoding just to feel basic reassurance. And if you are always confused, always anxious, always trying to figure out what he meant, then whether the cause is avoidance or lack of interest, your answer may already be in the pattern. Not in his potential. Not in his words. In the pattern. If he only comes close enough to keep you hoping, but never close enough to build something real, stop calling that mystery. Sometimes that is just disinterest with better branding. And sometimes the most healing thing you can do is stop asking whether he likes you. And start asking why confusion has started to feel like connection.